I'm a bit more happy. Good work, guys. I'll get you to swap sides.
So I'm going to look through my lens. I'm going to come in fairly close. I want to zoom in.
Hi everybody and welcome to our latest vlog. I'm here with Jay and Jesse. And we've all had a pretty big week of photography, haven't we?
Sure have. Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
Oh, well, I guess. Yeah, we had a good time on Sunday, of course. We had Ben Connolly here with a group of students. That was good, and I'll let you elaborate on that. But
that was a tremendous day.
Early in the morning there, Rich came down with me early to the university, and we tried out a new app that I found to use with the drone. It was called Hangar 360, and it's an app that autonomously drives your drone up in the air and takes a whole series of photos on different angles and a full 360 and creates a 360-degree photograph. Yeah. Much like we've probably all seen on, people who've mounted on their helmets and skateboards and all that sort of thing. But this is up in the air on a drone. You get that full 360 panorama shot. So
yeah, it's quite spectacular. Do I actually put that up? We might as well get straight into it.
We'll flash that up.
Yeah.
We'll have a quick look. Now, we're going to just shot of the university, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, what this app does is actually you open up the app, you just get your drone set up in the DJI Go app, of course, because I use a DJI Mavic. You get it all set up, calibrated, everything, ready to fly. Then you shut down the DJI Go app. You open up this Hangar 360 app. It links with the drone, and you just tick a few boxes and press the go button, and it does everything for you. It launches in the air to the desired height, takes a whole series of photographs, asks if you want to land the drone, it'll do that, and then you just gather the photos, send them off to the cloud, to the company that makes the app, and they'll stitch the whole series of photos together, 23 photos, and it does a very, very good job. I can't see any seams on any of these.
No, I had a really good look yesterday, mate. I wanted to try and pick a fault with it, but I couldn't. It really is outstanding.
Really amazing, yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
So,
and by the way, this is a free app. Whether it remains free long term, I'm not sure, because I think there's so many commercial applications for this app. We actually got here and did this when there was nobody around. We followed all the rules to make sure we weren't doing anything. But imagine how usable this is going to be for people that want to put an event or a festival on and want to make a site map of where the bands play or where the food was available. Or
it's so much easier looking at an actual live
or a schematic diagram, isn't it?
Vision of everything in colour and everything that compared to a schematic drawing or a map, aerial view. Some people still can't read maps, so something like this, it's pretty obvious. If you are here and this is where you need to go, it's all pretty self-explanatory. So very useful to something like that. It's interesting. Love new technology. It's amazing what.
Well, I'm just blown away by the quality. I think more than anything else, it's considering. You can see a full 360-degree view. The quality is just fantastic.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah,
and I know that you did have a play around with something similar, and you stitched it together yourself when you did the Noosa Hill climb. You sort of mapped out the track and the parking area. But gosh, if you would have had this technology available to you back then, I think how much easier would this have been?
So much better job, yeah.
I was actually with Jay when we actually did the photographing. I guess the process took no more than 2-3 minutes, probably tops.
Yeah.
And then actually, by the time we sat in the car, Jay, you'd put the photo and send it to Hangar.
Yep.
And by the time we'd actually got back to our office, which is not more than 3 to 5 minutes, that was waiting, processed, ready to go.
Upload it on the computer and have a look. So we'll include that link below of the actual photograph. You can scroll around, have a bit of a view of the Sunshine Coast University, beautiful spot, and also the link for the app, which is free. So it's great fun. I can see us trying that out on quite a few places.
Definitely. I know, like from that height that it's taking that from, Jay, could you have done it at 100 feet or at 50 feet? Or?
Well, I believe that the Hangar app does it all itself. It's actually 91 metres, with 300 feet it goes to, and I believe that's like mathematically calculated so that it gets
that's
more
true.
a better
have something to do with
perspective.
it.
I can imagine if it goes higher than that, you'd probably find the further distance away dropping off. You'd lose
an imbalance.
Yeah, you'd get a funny bowl shape happening, whereas this is more even perspective, I guess. They've sat down, they've worked the maths out and got the ideal height for the lens that's on the camera.
That's true.
And it does a really good job, and the perspective is pretty good.
So available for Mavic, Phantom, and
Inspire.
And
so all the DJI.
So all of the
drones,
DJI products. Okay. I did notice it came through on some of my social media that DJI have finally brought out some goggles.
Yes.
I can't wait for those.
It's been a while, yeah.
If you've ever had anything to do with flying drones and you're out in the bright sunlight with your mobile phone, gosh, it's hard to be able to see that screen.
Yeah.
I've tried everything. I've tried turning my brightness up, turning it down, putting my hands over the top.
I guess
I can't wait for those
it's actually
goggles.
illegal in Australia to fly your drone with those goggles.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's all right for a second person to be wearing
have a
those.
spotter.
Yeah, as a spotter basically. But one thing, the new DJI Inspire 2 has two cameras. It has one camera for the pilot, which you'd certainly be able to use those goggles for that, and another one controlling the camera separately. So it's on its own.
So you'd want a spotter anyway.
You need two pilots to fly it basically and film.
Sounds like something out of the Defence Force or something.
I wouldn't be surprised. Most of this technology obviously comes from the military or something like that, because it's just outrageous how good this is, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And it's also quite phenomenal to see how quickly it's transferred into the mainstream culture.
Yeah, and how quickly it got taken up.
Yeah, and I'm just fascinated. Like, I to this day haven't got a drone yet. We'll see what happens, because I'm becoming much more interested in the scope and ability to use it and what you can do with it. But it's just the number of people using them now, and the pages. I've really noticed on Instagram especially, and I think you probably both have seen too, that there's so many feature pages popping up, and individuals specifically using drones, imagery or creating a second account just for their drone footage.
Right. Jesse, I don't think he's on his own. I think drone pilots in the past, they get a pretty bad rap, mostly because I think in the early days it was a flying toy, and I guess people felt like it was taking away their autonomy. Having a drone flying around and seeing it from your backyard made everyone feel a bit at disease. But the reality of it is that I think has slowly waned away. People who are buying drones just for the pleasure of flying them, I think that has almost subsided. The people that are buying drones today are the genuine keen photographer that want to get an aerial perspective. I think that's where we're heading in this whole industry, and I really.
And if you do get on social media and look up some of the drone pages and so forth, there's some amazing photography coming out of the drone. I just joined up a new group the other day called the DJI Owners Group or something like that on Facebook, and it's a large group. But some of the photos there are absolutely incredible. It's just scenes up high, looking along a beach with like a seagull right in front of the camera. How you do that? But a fluke. But with an incredible, orange sunset as well. Just works of art. Amazing.
One of the things that fascinated me is the different. You're sort of seeing what people like, what they'd normally be shooting on the ground, and you see them get up in the sky with a drone. And for example, you might look down on this image and it's shipping containers.
Yeah, right.
Or it might be someone looking down on like a baseball field over in the US, and just seeing these different perspectives of different facets of our society from the sky. And it's just really eye-opening to see.
What I love is the use of the shadows.
Definitely.
I've seen some drone shots there of like a train of camels, but from above they're just little specks, but they're shadows. A large side, exactly. A train of camels is amazing.
I look forward to exploring a bit of that with you. We should go and do some of that. Mate, this is a great shot. I think there's so many great commercial applications for this 360-degree technology.
For sure.
Well done. And maybe for next week, let's have a little bit of an investigation about those goggles, whether they will be brought here to Australia, and we'll figure out what the correct way to use them and use them correctly.
If the laws change.
If the laws change, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, terrific. Jesse, you've got a workshop coming up.
I do, yes. I've got a workshop where I'll be talking all about creating your presence on social media. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about specifics of what I'll be talking about, but that's kind of getting started on social media, telling your story, and just learning the process of, if you've got a bit of a fear of getting online, actually breaking through that and realizing there are a lot of ways to kind of combat that, and not really being hesitant to kind of jump through that barrier, because what you'll find once you look at the different mediums that are available to you, whichever one you choose as the best option to tell your story, you'll actually find there are a lot of customizable settings which allow you to have that control. And you can set, for example, on Instagram, you can set your profile to be private. And so if you are out there advertising, it's just the people that you're advertising to that will most likely go in and follow you, and then they're seeing your images.
Yeah.
And unless they're in a position to know that you're there on Instagram, you're going to stay pretty hidden. So you do have a lot of power depending on what social medium you want to be part of.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I guess the most important part here, like as far as the social media workshop, it's really to ensure that you are making the right decisions. True.
Exactly.
Because social media can be absolutely your best friend, but if you're out there and you're doing it wrong, gosh, bad news travels faster than good news.
That's right.
And that's how social media can trip you up. Yeah. So Jesse has formulated a very easy, simple to understand, getting in at the ground level social media presence. And if you're a photographer and you want to share your work, well, gosh, this is a workshop that is really made for you. Jesse, give us a quick rundown. I'm still learning this myself, so I'm as interested as anybody. So at this workshop we had here on the weekend for Ben Connolly, it was a terrific event. I would have loved, but I didn't have the confidence to say to people, hey, get out your phone, tag or do whatever I should have done to make sure that people knew that these people were out with our group today and Ben Connolly. How should I have approached that? What's the correct way?
Well, there's a few different options you've got. So I'm not sure if I wasn't there at the beginning of the workshop, unfortunately, but Ben may have mentioned he has social mediums that he's using.
Mm-hmm.
So in an instance like that, once you're out in the field and the workshop's taking place on the move, as it was when I arrived, you can kind of say to people, okay, check out Ben's page, like some of his photos, feel free to follow him, and do that across all the social mediums. And then basically it's kind of, as soon as that kind of, you'll have like 5 different people kind of doing that, it creates this kind of web of information which just goes out into the online kind of webosphere, however you want to put it.
Sure.
And people are immediately exposed to that, and there's kind of an influx is the word I'm looking for. There's an influx of information directing back to All About Photography and Ben Connolly.
Right.
And that then creates this kind of immediate sort of network around that, and it brings the attention towards.
Which is really what I did want to do. And look, I just wasn't... And again, I was uncomfortable because of doing the wrong thing. So instead I did nothing, which I guess was, just as bad as anything, right? Okay, so perhaps when everyone arrived, when we were at our tea break, would that have been an opportune moment to say, hey, break out your mobile phone, check in? Is that something that
so
we should have
checking
done?
in on Facebook's one option you've got, and then if you really want to be on the move, say, for example, Twitter, which is microblogging, you can be doing constant updates, so you can kind of be using the hashtag through Twitter, and that's kind of linking into the hashtag, creating, like I say, that influx of information through the hashtag. But it just depends, I guess, the avenues in which All About Photography and Ben Connolly are advertising on their social media. So it's kind of a matter of, for example, if it's all Facebook, is generating that information into Facebook. So then people on Facebook are seeing it as it's coming along. So it's like almost that live feed sort of flow, basically.
Got
is
it.
what I'm getting at.
Okay, all right. So I think what we will do is this Saturday we have another workshop, and I think I'm going to put that into practice just to get some sort of structure to it. And I suppose just like everything else, getting into the habit and remembering to do this stuff, I think it's as important as knowing it is remembering to do it, right? Okay, sure. Okay, Jesse, and of course now it's this Thursday, not this Thursday, but the following Thursday is your workshop. And it's going to be held at Ted's Cameras in their dedicated training room?
Yes, I think it's 2 Thursdays away. It's on the 18th.
2 Thursdays away. Okay, great. On the 18th. That is true. All right, so keep an eye out for that. Like I said, if you're not sure of your social media, if you haven't put your toe in the water yet, this is going to be a well-structured information for artists, particularly photographers, where you can showcase your work and be confident that you're doing it in the most professional manner. Okay, terrific. So perhaps can we have a quick look at Ben Connolly's workshop video? I've put together about 4 minutes there. Can we just watch that through, start to finish? What you're going to see is a couple of the participants, Nikki and Becky. Hi, thanks for coming. Steve as well, he was game enough to give us a little bit of a running commentary. So we'll watch the video just so you can see what happens at a workshop, and we'll catch up at the end of the video.
So we've got lots of backlight there. We need a reflector to lighten her up if we want to use this scenario. So, how amazing does that look? Look at that. Isn't that amazing?
What I like most about Ben's work is that every shot is stunning. Every angle that he creates, every mystery that he creates from the poses, and just making people look fantastic.
Well, I really knew nothing about portrait photography, so I've learned a lot of things like light, angle. The main thing is to get your right light, then work around that.
Ben's portrait workshop today, just to get a better understanding of how to create that perfect portrait, to get the most from the lighting and the poses, and basically give the clients exactly what they want.
I'm taking away from this is those kind of key 6 stages to work through. So the fact that there's 6 things that I can list in my head each time that I do it, it's kind of like a checkpoint for me. So the fact that I can take that away is going to help me build my confidence and just go out there and at least, you know, try this, be able to try this and put it into practice.
Kaylin, with your arm that's on the rail there, turn it back into you. A little bit more. There, perfect. All right, so see now we've got a different perspective of her arm and it looks a lot better, all right? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna push the hip away from the camera. So pushing your hip towards the doors, Caitlin. Turn your shoulders slightly towards me, rotate your body around just a little bit. Beautiful, okay. And are you ready? Okay, and nice breath in. Ready, 1, 2, 3, now. So I'm going to look through my lens. I'm going to come in fairly close. I want to zoom in fairly close to her because I don't want to see too much of that junk that's behind her. Okay. And I'm looking through my viewfinder. I'm taking it back to 0, and then I'm going to overexpose it by about 3 clicks. Okay. And for me, it looks about right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to adjust that white balance because it's a little bit cold here. So we're in the shade, so this is the point where it literally goes to what it literally is. I want a bit more warmth in there, so I'm going to go to the house shade setting. Okay? So I'm pretty well happy with how it's set up.
A lot of his work has I'm noticing patterns and lines that kind of are behind their subject. And although the subject's always the main focal point of his image, I'm starting to see these patterns and colours behind.
How amazing does that look? Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Let's do this for you one at a time, okay? So please come and stand right in front here. Just line up right in front, and I want you to grab a shot from right in front because I want you to see the difference of this.
Using the natural light and the light sources to give such a perfect finish to the photos, and also really the techniques and the fundamentals behind actually making each photo work.
So step back just a little bit for me. So what you want to do is step back far enough so that your frame is just inside this frame, okay? See that? Okay, and then what we want, yep, so what I do with my focus point, that's a good question. With focus point, I can move obviously my focus point around to the eye, to wherever I want to put it. If you don't have the amount of focus points that I have, I think there's like 64 or something in here. If you don't have that many, then move your focus to the point that's closest to the eye, focus on the eye, and then recompose. all right? Just do not change your depth of field, your distance, okay?
Yeah, Ben is very easy to understand. He's a great teacher. I'd recommend him to anybody to come along, listen and learn, because yeah, it just seems to make the penny drop.
So that was a terrific day. It really was, and you can see from the participants, just how much fun they actually had during the day.
I think Ben enjoyed it too.
Oh, and I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
Look, I enjoyed it as well. Look, one thing that I can say for sure is, that when an event is scheduled to finish at 5, there were still people out photographing with Ben at 6:30. They were still having that much fun.
Yeah.
And that speaks volumes of Ben as a facilitator too. He doesn't run by the clock.
Yeah.
He basically wants to make sure that you're getting the information that you can perform it, get the techniques down pat, and we all really enjoyed that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, terrific. All right, so keep your eye out. There's going to be a lot more Ben Connolly coming up throughout the year in Brisbane as well. We're going to get him down into Brisbane for our Brisbane folk. And what else I'd like to show you is during that session that we did with Ben, I took some photographs of your daughter Caitlin, which was one of our models, which came along. Can we just have a little look at the video there, which I've labelled Rich Shoots Katie, and I just want you to have a look. I didn't realise this till after I saw the video. Do him up and play him. Just pretend he's playing, I guess. So, do you notice my form? My straight leg, straight back, bend at the knee?
Yeah.
Look, I don't ever get to see myself taking photos, but what I can tell you is, as a big fellow and a tall photographer, I suffer from bad back. Many, many years I've suffered from bad backs after shooting a wedding or a particular event, and it's because I'm conscious of getting down and shooting my talent at eye level. So I just thought that video was very interesting to actually see. I've developed that style over a period of time, completely 100% oblivious that I'm doing it. Just my body has ended up making that change. So I thought that was a bit of fun. There's also there the photograph of Katie as well with the sun flare behind. I thought that was a lovely shot.
Yeah.
The next little video I'd like you to have a quick look at is Graham Davis asked us a little bit about neutral density filters, and gosh, I've got into doing a few shots. I've done a couple of portrait shots. I'm going to do some streetscapes, I'm going to do some landscapes. I'm going to mix that in when you do some of your other footage, but let's just have a quick look at that video there where I shoot Katie and her friend Jacob. Now you'll see I'm using a 70-200 there, and you can see I've got that big ND filter. I'm going to put a video together so you can actually see the components of that ND filter. It's hideous stuff. It's really, really lovely quality gear. But what you're looking at there is a 70-200, which I want to shoot at f2.8. Now that's that lovely defocus background. Yeah. But you'll see that I'm using an off-camera flash. I'm using my D-Light, my Elinchrom lighting, and I've got a battery pack there. Now, in order for me to normally shoot with that battery pack and light, I'd have to shoot at, say, f8, f11 in order to get the correct exposure, and also maintain an f2.8 for the blurry background. So of course that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So with that 4-stop neutral density, that allowed me to shoot at f2.8, still get that lovely blurry background without having it completely destroy the exposure on Katie and Jacob. When that video is finished, just have a quick look at the couple of photographs there, Katie and Jacob as a couple.
Yeah.
Notice the catch lights in the eye.
Yeah.
Do you notice the transition of the shadows? It's a studio portrait, but taking that sort of look outdoors. It's a lovely look.
Too, wasn't it, when we shot that?
Absolute midday.
Full daylight. Yeah.
Full daylight.
The power of the neutral density filter, really.
It's wonderful, But working with this system, this stuff is just great quality. I have used cheaper filters in the past, and you'll get magenta, tones through the image, which are, sure, you can Photoshop and you can play with that, but I love getting things right in camera. Okay, the other one there that you'll see of Katie is the single portrait. Again, being able to chisel that light using the off-camera flash unit outdoors. Again, that lovely blurry background.
Yeah.
So I had an absolute ball this weekend. It was photography non-stop. I had a lot of fun. All right, lads. Well, I guess that's it for another week. All right, lads. Well, that's been another really big week of photography for us here. So, folks, thanks for joining us. Don't forget, this week we've got everything creative in macro. Jay, you've got that workshop coming up.
Night, yeah.
Have you got a theme pick for that at all? At
No, I haven't thought about that yet.
I really enjoy the macro workshop. Jay often changes it up. Sometimes it's water bubbles, sometimes it's textures.
Yeah.
It's a terrific workshop. And then I guess we should also remember that we've got the Brisbane Complete Camera Control. We've got a brand new facilitator. His name is John Cullen. He's a hell of a nice guy, and he's going to be running the All About Photography programs down in Brisbane as well.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that on our social media and our Facebook. We'll put some links below to those events and videos, and also to Jesse's stuff as well.
Definitely.
All right. Thanks very much, folks. Thanks for joining us.